lead the panel discussion about the hygiene and opportunities regarding the new media, internet, and the revolution we are going through regarding the changes in a world, the internet world. My name is Maciej Pilecki. I'm psychiatrist and child and adolescent psychiatrist, and I represent the Jagiellonian University Medical College. I am very excited with this panel because, you know, usually during the conference, if you have a panel, you know what the people are going to talk about, and this is the panel that I don't know what would be the answers to the question I ask the participants to answer to. Usually, when we talk about the children and adolescents and the internet and social media, we talk about the risks and the harm reduction. And today, during our panel, we would like to talk about the opportunities for children and adolescents using the internet, using the social media, and about the opportunities for us to helping children and adolescents and families to grow and not to have the mental problems, or to use the modern technologies to deal with mental problems or any other medical problems. So I will introduce the persons who are going to take part in the panel, and later on I will ask you to present yourself, to tell a little bit about yourself and about the reasons why you decided to take part in this quite challenging meeting, because it is a topic we usually don't discuss regarding the question of the internet. And then we will try to answer to two questions about the hygiene and opportunities, and hope that also we are going to have a chance to give you voice to the audience and answer to your questions and to listen to your comments. So I would like to introduce Delina Cici, which represents the Groupe Pompidou.
Good afternoon, everybody. Should I present myself
now? We'll go through all participants. Okay. So it's Johanna Cresswell-Smith from the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. Is Philip Dodd from the Department of Health, Ireland. Is the Hannes Jarke from EuroHealthNet. It's Claire Llewellyn from UNICEF. And we have Anna Morowska-Borowiec from the Foundation Faces of Depression. We have Martyna Najmrocka from IMSA Poland. Marta Sałkowska from the Copernicus Science Center. And Julia Sańczyk from Kaminski Foundation. So I think that we can go the way I introduce you and to share some information about the places you come from and the reasons why you decided to take part in this panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Delina Cici. I represent Council of Europe and more respectively Pompidou Group, that is the Council of Europe international group on drugs and addictions. It's a pleasure to be here today and to listen to such inspiring interventions that we had during the morning. Particularly like the intervention of the students, of course. It was a very nice explanations of what we are doing, especially with addictions. That is the topic of my presentation. So why we came to this conference is because since last year in October 2024, Pompidou Group, together with the the European Commission, has started a project about online gambling and gaming, the risks. I will come back to the risks because risks and benefits, that, as we understood and heard, they go hand in hand. They have started this project on addressing the mental health of young people by addressing the risk associated with online gambling and gaming. This project will be implemented in 9 EU member states, in Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Hungary, Italy, Malta, Slovenia, Portugal, Poland as well. And it aims at finding effective ways to address these issues by focusing on evidence-based research. We're working on the research and analysis on what is going on, because it's a new topic. And it needs further in-depth analysis, and then based on the research that we will have not only in European but international level, we will have informed policies and practices interventions, and we will also work with awareness raising on the risks and harms that these two phenomena have on young children by involving not only young people, their parents, and community as a whole. So it will be a holistic approach. This is an international exchange. It's learning from each other, although specific countries have different level of addressing the problem, but they come together in finding having a coordinated approach at the European level. The Council of Europe has in place many instruments, legal instruments, but also initiatives that somehow support the mental health and see technology as a positive ally in our everyday life. And for that, some of the that is interested for this panel is the Framework Convention on the Use of the Artificial Intelligence that aims to create platforms that are safe for young people, and that the industry is aware of the risks that such issues have, and we have products that are in favor of mental health of young people. We also have another very important initiatives that are the strategy, Council of Europe strategy for the rights of the child, that in one of its priority has the access to safe platforms, and this year we have 2025, which is the European Year of citizenship education, that focuses on building a digital citizen that is aware of all the benefits and risks that the technology poses, and uses technology in a responsible way.
Thank you. My name is Johanna Cresswell-Smith. I'm from the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. I noticed in the notes that the Social and Health Ministry is also mentioned there. That was because I'm here on behalf of Soila Ridanpää, who's from the ministry. So at the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, or THL as we shorten it to, we've since 2020 been working with a mental health strategy. That's a national mental health strategy. And it spans 2020 to 2030. So it's quite a special strategy in that way, because it spans over a very long time, because we know that the changes that we want to create in society and the changes that we want to make through our work takes a long time usually. So in that way, we're happy with the strategy because it spans several government periods too, which is of course the very key to policy making. So we've been implementing the mental health strategy at THL. It's a very broad strategy centered around 5 key points. One of which, the first one, is looking at mental health as a source of capital. So we're looking at both continuums. We're looking at mental ill health, but we're also importantly looking at positive mental health, and specifically about mental health promotion and how we can promote mental health in our country and communities. So we're taking an approach which looks at treatment and services, but also at the community as a broader sense, and how we can promote mental health in different age groups. One of the key points is also around children and young people, because of course we know that the more we invest in the mental health of children and young people, it bears the best fruits, shall we say, for the future, and it's a necessary thing to do, also because of the many reasons that we heard this morning. So that's, and then there's a few other points on service delivery, and within service delivery, we have also done a lot of work to find digital solutions. Of course, the pandemic brought a new way of working for us all, a lot more digital services. Some of them have come to stay. We are not going to get rid of all of them, of course. One-to-one or face-to-face contact is often preferred and often the most desirable kind of service. Finland's a very long country. We have a lot of areas where there's very sparse populations, so these digital services are a necessary part of our life, regardless of pandemic or not. So part of the mental health strategy was looking at evidence around digital services. We're a research institution, so of course we want to make sure that what we suggest is something that is backed up by the evidence that it needs to have behind it. So we have a very broad approach to our. I didn't get the questions, I'm afraid, so I'm not sure what's coming. If there's more specific questions coming, I don't know whether I want to say everything that I want to say now.
The questions are simple.
Okay.
And the first question is there anything in particular positive you see in a technological revolution that can be used at the level of the children and adolescents, but not necessarily as something that is used by adults to deal with the problems of adult children and adolescents? That is the advantage of the technological revolution for the children and adolescents. And the second question is about more the professionals. So it means what would be the key points for us that the technological revolution and the internet can brings for us to advantage of our patients or children and adolescents. Okay. So partly you give the answer to the second question.
To the second question.
About the digital services.
Services, yeah, absolutely. So what we found we did a series of smaller reviews, and we also did a large umbrella review regarding digital services for young people, and in general. And we found that a lot of the services were aimed for adults, and of course also young people, but less so children for obvious reasons. Main benefits or the strongest kind of evidence behind them were found for parenting support. So we found good evidence in terms of supporting children with behavioral issues, and that was through supporting parents. And we also found some evidence for anxiety-related disorders, less or more mixed results, shall we say, for depression. What I would say about these services is that there's a lot of course, a lot of apps, there's a lot of programs, but not a lot of them have the evidence backing. So what we have also become following the pandemic is maybe perhaps a little impatient. If we want to build good products and build good interventions, it has to be allowed to take some time. Research also takes a long time. So we have to invest in time resources, but of course also in research funding allocation for assessing the effectivity of these different apps and different interventions that are available. There are certain difficulties related to this, one being also that the app world or the tech world is much faster than we are in the research world. So by the time we're assessing an app, it might have already been updated several times and changed several times. So this is an ongoing challenge that we will have within it. But yeah, perhaps that's all for now.
Thanks so much. So Philip Dodd is my name. I'm a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist by background, but I have been working in our Ministry of Health for the last 5 years now. So my role in our ministry is I lead the implementation of our national mental health policy, which was also launched in 2020 and has a 10-year period of time up to 2030. We also have a very connected suicide and self-harm reduction strategy that's actually just coming to an end, and we're currently in the evaluation stage. So I guess my role is in the area really of public health, mental health, so seeing mental health as a key public health concern. And our policy has a whole of population scope. So it's got 100 recommendations, but it also covers key areas outside health, because we're very much convinced, I think, in Ireland that so many of our mental health problems, the solutions lie outside actually the health ministry, a little bit like the issue that we're discussing today. And yet sometimes a knee-jerk reaction can be to look just to the health system for solutions, when in fact most of the solutions can actually be found outside. So our policy very much focuses in on mental health promotion, prevention, early intervention, the enhancement of specialist services, but then also the enhancement of psychosocial recovery. So we would see digital mental health as a key enabler across that full spectrum. So as part of the work that we've done, we've commissioned digital mental health supports really across that whole spectrum. And we would see that as a key part of our service offering. Youth mental health is a particular challenge, so it really behoves us in the health space to support and lead on digital mental health as a key enabler to try and challenge some of the difficulties in reaching difficult to reach populations, albeit we have to be obviously very concerned about the risks as well. So this is a classic risk-benefit analysis piece. I guess finally we're very clear that the evidence would suggest that if we co-produce and co-design integrated clinical apps, for example, as part of a full mental health service, that actually young people engage and stay engaged for the longest period of time. So simply evaluating an app in a university research setting and assuming that it'll just transfer conveniently over to a full service offering, we know that that doesn't take place. So we are very much supporting that type of co-productive, integrated digital mental health service offering alongside face-to-face, reflecting a lot of what work was done in Australia over the last 10 to 15 years. The final point before I move on, we've been lucky enough, so we have a Minister for Mental Health in Ireland, and she was first appointed in 2020, and we were lucky enough that in the last election, last December, she was returned as Minister for Mental Health, so it'll be somewhat unusual to have a Minister for Mental Health, hopefully for 8 years. She was also promoted, so she actually sits at the cabinet table, so she's the chief whip under our system, which basically means she has a role in coordinating government. So we're reasonably optimistic that sense of political consistency will hopefully work towards continued investment in mental health. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I have a lot of points, continuing from that point. My name is Hannes. I work for EuroHealthNet, the European Partnership for Health, Equity and Wellbeing. We're an NGO based in Brussels, which brings together the voice of national health institutions, national health promotion agencies and research institutes in the area. I lead our mental health portfolio there. Digital technologies and mental health in children is a extremely important topic where we're basically not only at the phase where we need to tackle it now, we're actually already a little bit too late. One of the issues is that this topic, it has been important for many, many years, particularly throughout the pandemic, of course, but it has now been politicized. It's been in policy discussions. There are political parties, political actors who take specific positions on it. So it's getting incredibly harder to actually bring evidence into this discussion because there are certain actors who will turn your evidence or argue against it. in any case. So this makes it quite tricky. When I said I would like to, hang on to some of the points that Philip just mentioned, one of our approaches is also to take into account the social determinants, socioeconomic determinants of health. So one important part from our view is also the health literacy, digital health literacy, that has been talked this morning about also quite a lot. We know that a lot of young people look for health information and mental health information online on TikTok. So we also argue that we need to be there. And when I say we, I mean all of the health actors, to really make sure that there is correct information and information that kids and young people and everybody actually can really trust, which I think overlaps a lot as well with the efforts on fighting disinformation, misinformation. There has been a lot of promising work done, particularly if you look at the things that Sander van der Linden has done, the inoculation and pre-bunking work, where you really show people how to create your own fake news and then make them sensitive to how all of this works. So this is very important. Then, of course, all of the regulation that comes with it, the Digital Services Act was mentioned this morning, I think, as well, and the AI Act on EU level. So those are all important things that we sort of need to into account there. And lastly, it is also an opportunity in terms of participatory approaches. We've heard already it is very hard to evaluate apps or to get their feedback, to get feedback from people on it. So I think really getting young people into the co-creation of it, and we've talked to in preparation of this event, I've talked to one of our member organizations in Denmark, Department for Health Education there, who told us they've made very good experiences in getting kids and young people into co-creating these apps. And this is also something we should foster. We've clearly seen this morning that young people have a very good understanding of what is going on in the digital world. So really keeping them involved should be a priority. Thank you.
Hello, I am Claire Llewellyn. I actually work for the University of Edinburgh, and we've been conducting a project with UNICEF ICARO, and we've also been working with the country offices of Tajikistan and Kazakhstan. So I'm going to attempt to answer the positive question here. So we know young people talk online, they seek mental health advice online. And this project is to use AI to try and understand what young people are talking about. It's a participatory project, so we started off by running workshops in Tajikistan and Kazakhstan and finding out what young people said. They like to be anonymous. If they can't get onto social media accounts, they like to use their siblings' accounts. They will get there and they will seek information and they will talk about being online. What is interesting is that they use a very specific set of language. They use slang, they code switch, they talk about topics in a very different way. They use emojis. And this means it's harder for us as older people to understand them, but it does mean we can identify them talking about that online. And what we've done is we've used large language models. So technology like ChatGPT, it's not just used for generating text, you can use it for classification and identifying text. So we've used that language, those topics, to identify that text and identify the topics that people are talking about online. We don't want to monitor individuals, we want to look at big trends, and then we can use our expertise, our human knowledge, to actually drill down and do the important work. So we're not using AI to replace anyone, we're using AI to identify where humans can best be used. Is there a trend that we are just too slow to get hold of? Can we use the AI to identify that? And we're showing good results, even with kind of the older LLMs, you know, these are advancing and leaping on. When we were doing it, we were using just Russian and English, because that's the only ones where we could get good results. It's completely different kind of 6-12 months later. So hopefully a bit of a positive case. I'm happy to give negative feedback as well, but we'll leave it there for now.
Hi, hello. My name is Martina, and I feel enormous pressure on me because I'm the only one student here, I think. But I'm trying to do my best. And thank you for invitation on that astonishing conference and on that panel. And I have the honor to represent the International Federation of Medical Students in Poland. And we belong to the International Federation of IFMSA, which brings together all the students from all over the world. And talking about me, I'm the assistant of National Public Health Officer in our country. Because we have all programs in IFMSA. First one for medical education, second one for peace and human rights, and especially mine, which I belong to, public health. And talking about public health in IFMSA, we have a lot of actions all over the year. In Poland, the most crucial action, it's called Health Under Control, and it looks like in shopping mall center we have like stages with, for example, blood counting or the blood pressure measurements. We are only one non-government organization which brings together medical students in Poland. And our main, we want to give all students, medical students in Poland, non-formal education because we think that in our universities we have not so much practical classes. So that's the reason why we have actions like suturing or vascular anastomosis workshops. We have a lot of that. But what about mental health? We can agree that especially in medical students, we have a lot of problem with mental health because of a lot of knowledge we have to learn for a little short time. And this is even shown by research, of which there are more and more, as I found on my presentation today. And we call it like technological diseases. We have a lot of programs, especially in IFMSA, connecting with mental health, especially Psychiatry for All. And this is a program where we show that psychiatrists and all psychologists, like psychiatry specialties connecting with mental health are not so scary, because still a lot of people think that psychiatrists are really like different doctors. We have program for eating disorders because we think that this is the main problem in our peers. And as well, this is peer education program where we go to schools and show presentations about eating disorders. Especially we have a new program called Psychedelics, conducting awareness rising in the youngest children in schools. Because as medical students, we want to share our knowledge, especially knowledge like this medical knowledge for people, for children in kindergarten or in school, in high schools. Especially we have now a new program with about climate change, where we show the impact of climate change on health, on especially mental health, because it's really give us a lot of that things. Nevertheless, we have enormous problem with social media, enormous problem with digital era and its impact on children's mental health. We think that we have plenty of good solutions. Staying on the subject of the projects I mentioned, which IFMSA has been creating for many years, medicine has been changed, and primarily we have a really good solution called in Polish telemedicine. I can say like e-medicine. And it gives us a really good opportunity to, for example, make access to children who don't have a lot of money, because telemedicine is not so expensive for children, for people. And it's really good opportunity for us. For example, like a lot of medical students are researchers too. For example, me. And it's really good opportunity to get really fast anonymous databases. And we can create on that new research, do research, and develop medical education or like science in Poland. So yeah, as every topic, the digital have pros and cons, but I think we can like make it better to show people how to use it good. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Anna Morowska-Borowiec. I'm from Faces of Depression Foundation. May I ask about my presentation? Oh, thanks. Thank you very much. Faces of Depression Foundation is one of the most active NGO in Poland in the field of mental health. Our mission is to destigmatize mental health disorders, promote prevention and treatment of mental health, and increase the availability of professional psychological and psychiatric help. We provide it to disadvantaged groups such as people in mental crisis, children, adolescents, seniors, pregnant women and postpartum women, people with refugee experience or victims of natural disasters. Oh, sorry. Coś popsułam. Dziękuję. I'm sorry. In our educational thank you very much. In our so the next, please, of course. In our psychoeducational activities, very important is campaign Faces of Depression. I don't judge, I accept, which over the last 10 years has involved over 60 ambassadors, actors, musicians, TV presenters, and Olympic champion. We engage well-known and respected people who, together with us, break stereotypes and encourage pause to properly treatment of depression. In the campaign, we remind that combination of pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy is the best way to proper treat depression. In children, we focus on psychotherapy in the first place. In each edition of the campaign, which the Faces of Depression Foundation organizes twice a year, we present a different phase of depression, a group affected by the disease, children and adolescents, adults, pregnant and postpartum women, oncological patients, employees, sportsmen. In the 20th edition running now, we summarize 10 years of our work, analyze what has changed in the approach of pause to treatment of depression, and how much still needs to be done. In February, we prepared a billboard campaign in all provincial capitals, a gala at Kaminski Theatre in Warsaw with participation of nearly 300 people and our ambassadors and as mental health specialists, partners. Faces of Depression book is also connected with our campaign. And what is important, the next please, as part of 10th edition anniversary of the campaign is the pictures of our ambassadors, 20 of ambassadors, Faces of Depression campaign, are presented in the center of Warsaw, in Warsaw right now. And next, please, as part of the 2nd anniversary of the campaign, we have also prepared the largest mural in Poland of mental health. 420 square meters of the wall of block in Warsaw was covered with painting by the well-known and respected artist Wojciech Brewka. Next, please. Sorry. The Faces of Depression Foundation has been encouraging Poles to be physically active for years. When we move, our body produces endorphins, so-called happy hormones, and we would like that the people will be so active as is possible. That's why on the occasion of the European Day Against Depression, which falls in October, we organize a charity run with Faces of Depression. Our next sports event, the 4th edition of the run, will take place on the 5th of October near to Warsaw. Next, please. In internet, we public. Next, please. Sorry. Oh, thank you. In internet, we public free educational magazine with interviews with our ambassadors, but also very interesting articles writing by our mental health specialists, a lot of knowledge about mental health, like this one about mental health among children and teenagers. And we also arrange the free webinars. Next, please. And what is very important when we talk about positive impact of internet, the second important pillar of our activity, apart from psychoeducation, is providing professional help. Our foundation is often called a psychological emergency service. We run a psychological clinic in the center of Warsaw, a helpline, and 6 programs of free remote psychological and psychiatric care for children, adolescents, pregnant and postpartum women, oncological patients, adult in a mental crisis, for Ukrainian citizens. What is important, thanks to remote consultation, we can help Ukrainian citizens not only in Poland but also who are still in Ukraine, and we can help people talk with them even during bombardment, what's going on in our history of our consultations. I think this is an important aspect of our business in the context of today's conversation about the positive impact of new technologies on our health. Over the last 3 years, 40 of our mental health specialists have conducted over 30,000 remote consultations, free remote consultations for people in Poland. We provide help for children from 4 years old to seniors. I'm a psychologist, and before the pandemic, I had a completely different perspective on remote consultations. Like other psychologists, I thought it was important for a person suffering from depression to come for face-to-face meeting. We considered the very fact that one has to get dressed and leave the house to be therapeutic. the pandemic has forced us to direct our activities to the online world. Also at the Faces of Depression Foundation during pandemic, we opened up to remote psychological consultations. Our experience during the pandemic showed that remote consultations are just as effective as in-person consultations for the most common mental disorders such as depression, anxiety disorders, or PTSD. Next, please. Sorry. Next. Thank you. We conduct consultations via video communicators such as Skype, WhatsApp, Viber, or Teams. Remote consultation allow us to reach people who for different reasons will not be able to reach public health care. Such as people from villages or small towns who do not have mental health specialists in their area, or the access for them is very, very difficult. In our foundation, for example, we consult children from the countryside, from large families where in other circumstances a parent would not be able to provide their children with regular access to psychologists because there is no psychologist at school, and it's impossible for a parent to travel even 30 kilometers to the nearest mental health specialists. It happens that we take care of children who due to the intensification of social anxiety have stopped leaving the house and do not go to school. Our specialists who provide for children 10 free consultations thanks to our sponsors, successfully bring children out of anxiety disorders during this time. In the program of remote consultations, we also have students of the school in Skaszewo-Włościańskie, where our very experienced psychologists and psychiatrists consult children remotely. Our remote consultations program is also important for postpartum women who often find it difficult to organize regular visit to a psychologist after childbirth. We consult mothers with the baby at the breast at their homes where they feel safe and comfortable. According to World Health Organization, even every third mother after giving birth has depression. Children of mothers who do not treat postpartum depression are already in their teenagers group at high risk of developing depression. I would like to add that remote consultations are an opportunity to help people who, like seniors or terminal ill people, do not leave their homes, but also for those who are afraid to take the first step and go to the office. Our specialists help to overcome the fear. We also consult men who often connect with us from cars in the parking lot in front of the office building. Let me remind you that last year in Poland, 5,000 people committed a suicide in this, and 4,000 were men. This is very important that we together talk openly about mental health, break the stereotypes, and engage people to go to the specialists like psychologists and psychiatrists. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now, should I? Okay, so my name is Marta Sałkowska. I work at the Copernicus Science Center, and I also have a presentation, and it would help me to stick to the topic because it's easy to go some other ways. And, oh, yes, it's here. I will try, maybe it works. So, yes. Anna before me talked about sports, and I would like to talk about education. At Copernicus Science Center in Warsaw, we not only do fun interactive exhibitions with interactive scientific exhibits, but we also conduct research, mostly in a research and development approach. Research and development approach means that we are trying to involve potential users right from the beginning of our idea. And our latest idea is to design an educational set that involves mobile technology, but not as a gadget, not as something that has to attract learners or that has to glue them to the screen for the whole lesson, but as an educational tool. So we know that tablets, smartphones, they may be overused, but we have to show and educate how to use them in a wise way. We know that there are a lot of microcontrollers and other technical things that we can attach to tablet and measure whether our sunglasses, they really have those filters that producers promised. So we try to show how to use technology as an educational tool. We try to design educational aids that can be used by not only by designers and teachers who co-created them, but also by other learners, but by other teachers. And we also believe that each educational product, educational solution, educational set should have an added value. It shouldn't only teach, but it should also develop some other, let's say, soft skills like cooperation. And we also aimed at our educational set that it can be used outdoors. And in order to produce such an educational set, we invited teachers, 12 teachers from all over Poland to create and to work with us on this educational aid. And we spent almost 1,800 hours on tests with teachers, tests with learners, including learners with special needs. So it was a huge event when we were observing. It was a huge project when we were doing research with teachers. Teachers were co-researchers. Teachers were doing action research. That means that they were reflecting on their own practice and they were observing the educational process that they initiated with their learners. So it was a lot of research, a lot of hours, but it is crucial in our research projects that potential users are involved from the beginning. It wasn't our idea. Oh, we have such a great idea, we will design a product and then we will give it to teachers. No, we invited teachers from the beginning. We invited students from the beginning, and teachers and students were all feedback providers. Students were not only testers of educational solutions. And oh, this is here. You can see students testing our products, and you can see that tablets are not quite visible on those pictures because they are used to measure the way that pulsars rotate, and the children had more problems with constructing, with using like a cartoon and a line to construct a model of pulsar than to measure it with the tablet. So it appears that they are much more fluent when it comes to technology than when it comes to, you know, building things and constructing things. But apart from testing with students, we also did workshops with teachers who were co-creators, but also who observed the lessons conducted by our educators from the Copernicus Science Center. I move on, yes. And what is the most important thing to me is that we gathered learners' reactions. Learners, by learners I mean children aged 10 to 15, yes, about the lessons that they could co-create, they could consult, they could provide feedback. And when you see that kids enjoyed being able to move from their school desks and go out into the park, outdoor lessons. And it was not only about running around the school, it was about observing nature. They could, with tablets, they could make measurements, they could take photos, and they could walk each week to the same place and check what are the birds now, what they can hear. They could check it with special applications. So it's really, for me, it was interesting that the mobile technology was really moving. It was mobile for children also. So it also shows that technology can have some inclusive potential, especially when it comes to multicultural communities and children who are not of the Polish origin in Polish-speaking school. We have a child of Ukrainian nationality in the group, usually isolated. Here, she became very involved, translating difficult biological names into her language. It makes education quite easier. Polish is not an easy language, as we know. And one more thing that proves that technology can be connected to real experience. It's not virtual. It can show some real experience. Is that one student told us we were surprised to be able to see the cardiovascular system through AR and how exertion affects heart rate. It was very visible and understandable. It means that students were doing some physical exercises and then checking how it affects their heart rate, and they could see the scheme, the results on the screen, and then to compare with other kind of physical exercise. Outdoor lessons, opportunity for movement, and the group work. It really proves that children are quite good at group work when the task is structured properly, because we tried to structure the activities, the instructions, so that children simply had to cooperate. They couldn't do the task on their own. Yes, oh, yes, that's it. I think I can talk more when it comes to questions. Thank you.
May I ask for the presentation, please? The Life Plan app presentation, that is what it's called. But to start, again, hello everyone. I'm very glad to be a part of this very important discussion about digital hygiene and mental health in the digital age. And my name is Sańczyk. I am psychologist. I am a product owner at the Kaminski Foundation and Kaminski Academy. And we are here because we developed a comprehensive toolbox for supporting mental health. And it consists of diagnostic tool, mental, online and offline courses, stationary workshops, and a mobile app. And I would like to introduce to you this app now. It's called Life Plan app. But let's start with our mission. The mission of the Kaminski Foundation is to build mental resilience among children and young adolescents and adults, and strengthen their self-esteem by helping young people learn how to achieve their personal goals. And we are very focused on prevention and empowerment. So this is the one step back from your organization, for your foundation. And we have this powerful story that inspires us. This is the story of Janek Mela, a teenager from Poland, 15 years old, who reached both North and South Pole together with the traveler, our founder, Marek Kaminski, and it was extraordinary achievement because Janek was the youngest person to do that, and he was the first person with disabilities to achieve this kind of journey. Unfortunately, due to a tragic accident, he lost both his arm and his leg. And despite all of his difficulties, he was able, because he had this mental resilience, and he built it together with Marek Kaminski and with the team of the expertise psychologists. He had, of course, a lot of physical preparation for this journey, but he was able to accomplish that. And during that journey, we developed this methodology that was called, in Polish, it's called metoda biegun. In English, it's called Polaris method. And the app itself is based around this Polaris method. It is available in 3 languages, in Polish, English, and Ukrainian, because we would like to support a wider range of young people, including war refugees from Ukraine. The main aspect of the app is that it's designed like a journey. So it's guiding step by step in defining the goals, the dreams of the young people, and it's turning it into specific measurable goals. So it's not only that you have this dream, you have the roadmap to achieve this goal. And of course, this empowers them to take control of their path in a conscious and systematic way. Okay. And the Life Plan app itself develops key emotional and cognitive skills, and we do that through encouraging self-reflection, because the app itself is based on the diary method, on the journaling, and studies have shown that even the act of the reflection itself is helping people. So this is the very big part of the application itself. And of course, it has an interactive set of exercises. We have our core 3 features, 3 expeditions, as we call them, because, as I said, the main theme is a journey. So we call the expeditions. It's the set of exercises. And the first one, the shortest one, is called Mental Power, is the essence of the Polaris method. The second one, if you would like to have more in-depth knowledge about building mental resilience, it's called EuroPol. And the third one, specifically designed for young war refugees from Ukraine, is called Empower Yourself. The app is, of course, free. So if you would like to check those journeys, those features, you can download it on the App Store or on the Google Play. And as I said in the beginning, it's not a therapy substitute. It's a preventative tool. It's an educational tool that teaches young people how to navigate themselves in the complex digital world. And of course, I'm very open to answer all of your questions or discuss it after the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It seems that I got the answers to my questions. So we have some time. So first of all, I would like you to ask to have kind of free associations and to have the comments one to each other, because, you know, this is something that we can share, join together, and to have a panel discussion. And the second thing, I would like you to answer to the question, what would we do from a point of view of United Europe, from the point of view of countries, and from the point of view of, as it was presented at the very end of the first part of the panel, from the point of view of the people who are dealing with the issues on a regular basis, that we are trying to find the solutions. So what should be done during the next 10 years to have less harm and more mental health and more well-being regarding the social media, internet, and new technologies. So first, associations, three associations, two psychiatrists and psychotherapists are in a panel discussion, and then the question about the future. Okay. So who will start? Yeah.
Thanks so much. I just think some of the contributions on the left side are really resonant, I think, with some of the key, I guess, issues that I think we're grappling with in lots of different countries. But I really like the fact that some solutions have been really proposed. I'd like to really, I guess, the Marta's contribution from the Copernicus Science Centre, like, if we don't start investing in really the enhanced spaces and places for young people, well, what are the alternatives then to screen time? And we know that, like, the UN Convention for the Rights for Children, Article 31, it's the right to play. So we need really to focus in on some of the other key issues that are so impactful on children's mental health and well-being. I slightly would say I don't think we're too late with the issue of, I think, Hannes, you mentioned we're a bit too late, I think, with the whole issue of digital mental health. I don't think so. I see digital mental health as a key determinant, similar to access to housing, similar to access to financial supports when we run through difficulties. It's just part of the determinants of mental health difficulties. We haven't yet cracked the issue of financial stress as the direct and most likely cause of suicidal behavior. We haven't cracked that. So this is without using that hideous cliche, this is a journey rather than a destination, I think. And I think some of the innovations that we heard on the left really, give me some hope. Around app development. So I think when you look at the whole app ecosystem across health, mental health has actually probably taken a lead in developing app-type approaches to supporting mental health. What we may not have been as effective as doing is actually bringing all together those clinically well-governed and well-designed and impactful apps into a single entry point for a distressed young person. Because at the moment it's like a big table of buffet food to which you're sort of having to pick certain pieces. But actually, if you are seeking answers to some of your mental health difficulties, you really need to access services and supports and the relevant apps quite quickly. Otherwise, we will lose, I guess, our concentration on this being a potential solution. So I guess part of what I would reflect on this is the need for policy, I guess, developers and the commissioning of services to ensure that when apps are commissioned and they're operationalized, that there's equal concentration and focus in on how we bring that offering into a platform that enables people to access the supports at the right tier of supports that are needed. I guess in Ireland we are grappling with this. We have developed, and we're in the process of developing, a national navigator app, which is being co-produced with children and young people. In other words, it's not for some old white man like myself to come up with a solution. It's actually working and supporting the participation of young people in the design and, I guess, ensuring that what we're designing is effective. So this Navigator app has a single point of entry. You input in only 5 pieces of personal information, and then you're presented with the range of tiered level supports that are appropriate to the individual. And it's very much replicating what our Australian colleagues did 10 years ago. So the moderated online tool for social therapy, so coming out of the Origin service. So there's really good evidence that if we design and develop those type of digital mental health supports that are integrated in with other talk therapies, that's how we make the most difference and change. Thank you.
Can I just jump on? Just jump on to exactly what came up here indirectly, but more directly here next to me, is matching the service to the need. Because there's big differences. The majority of digital-based services are self-management type services or self-management type apps that you can use to either go through some sort of program or intervention or, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the majority. And then we need to tie in the ones that are perhaps more guided, perhaps that can be used in conjunction with a clinician, you know, and that's another type. And then we have the more wearable things like VR. Virtual reality has had really good results. I think this came up in the first plenary in terms of anxiety disorders and so on and so forth. So there's different options for different tiers, like you just brought up here really nicely. So that's a really important point to remember here. In the same way that we need to be really careful with our terminology when we're talking about promotion or prevention or treatment, because we tend to throw them all into a nice big sort of fruit salad, but they are specific and separate terms, so that we're really clear on what our outcomes are. What is it we want to achieve? And just again, ending on a mental health promotion note. Again, my colleague next to me mentioned it just now, where it's about taking a broader approach so that children and young people have the opportunities to do things that promote their mental well-being, and that is things that are just part of daily life. It's not. It is, of course, sometimes about therapy and support, but it's also about those everyday things like hobbies, friendships, family, these kind of things.
We're not in some sort of a Finnish-Irish arrangement here. But like the one, maybe just to bring in the contribution from Martina on the medical students. So like in Ireland, we have very much supported the whole development of clinically moderated mental health text services, because we really feel that they are, I guess, a service that reaches difficult to reach populations. So for example, in our third level in universities, we just think about how challenging it is to go to university. So we want young people to go to university and move usually out of their usual community and start in quite an unusual, you know, exciting but also very challenging environment at a time when they're most likely to develop mental health difficulties. And they're often not connected maybe with the mental health supports and services that they would have had where they lived before they went to university. So we see the impact and effectiveness of high quality, clinically moderated text services as a really enabler to reach difficult to reach populations, such as medical students. Medical students are a really challenging group of people in that they often are highly driven, highly connected with ambition, but then they often are trusted in a university setting as coming up with the solutions and the supports to the other students. So that can be quite a daunting position. So any targeted supports at particular groups, such as students or medical students, I think is really something that we should be developing. But definitely, like, just to give brief statistics, so Ireland has a population of 5.5 million people. We commissioned our Text 50808, which is our national clinically moderated text service, and every month there are 4,000 conversations, and every month there's at least 400 emergency initiations of ambulance supports to people who are in crisis. And when we look at some of the evidence and the data, about 10 to 11% of young people who engage with the crisis text line wouldn't or hadn't engaged with mental health services before. So for many, it is the only mental health service. So I think as we're coming up to key, I guess, innovations, to me, that's the one that probably has provided the most impact for the relatively small amount of investment.
Yeah, sorry, go first.
Oh, sorry.
You want to add something?
I can be quick.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, maybe adding on this, I think because you were asking what can we do like as a united Europe, I think it is taking more control over the environment where all of these services are provided. As in, we know it's very hard for people to navigate social media. So why is there no European social media that really takes into account all of the European laws that are, you know, constantly being ignored by other social media that are available? And likewise, we could do the same for apps. So one of the starting points is like there's a lot of movement about health promoting schools. We're involved in a project, for example, called Schools for Health, where really teachers are taking health and mental health of students into account and really teaching them about it. This should also be, you know, expanded to like digital health literacy and, you know, moving in these areas. But then also gamification is a topic that hasn't really come up. You mentioned the right to play, for example. There are those games. I think in 2015-16, the FDA in the US approved the first game first computer game that was supposed to help kids with ADHD manage their symptoms. Since then, a lot has been happening. Our colleagues at the Trimbos Institute in the Netherlands have developed games that help with anxiety. So those things exist, but they, you know, if they're under good quality control, they can really support children and young people. And, you know, to close this off, there is work already being done on the quality standards of it. So there has been the EU-funded Label to Enable project, which aimed to have quality labels for health apps in general, because if you go to your app store, you will find so many things that are called wellness, health, whatever. But there has been no quality control. So really establishing and pushing this quality control on apps, I think is just really crucial. And just very recently, led by the JGZ from the Netherlands, this project called Super, which provided guidelines on establishing or doing something similar for particularly mental health digital applications, also including important aspects such as co-creation. So really bringing these things there, and also as new apps come up, see when they do not meet those guidelines, but they seem to be very strong in their application, to also rework those guidelines. So to really have an iterative process, to have guidelines into place and to continuously update them and enforce them. I think that is a big thing that we could do on a European level.
So I just want to shortly add to my previous speakers, because on the one hand, we are talking about really good solutions, about telemedicine, about all these really fantastic things we have. But I think we have to really focus on encouraging medical students to psychiatry, because all my friends know about surgery because it's famous, because it's fantastic to be a surgeon. Because we will be famous, earn a lot of money, etc. But what about psychiatry? Everybody knows that after being a psychiatrist, we will be burned out for, I don't know, 2 years or not so much time. So I think the most important thing for medical students is to just encourage them to that specialization. And as well, we are talking about hygiene, like hygiene in provided by technologies, but what about hygiene in our job? Because I think in psychiatry, it's really difficult to talk about that, especially I think in Poland, because it's really crucial to work together with psychologists, with therapists, but still it's not so I can say famous in our clinics. So I think it's really a thing that we should develop, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Of course, for us, internet is also the very important way to help the people and to educate the people. But it is also a big challenge when we talk about the time which we spend in internet and the content which we see or write. This could be dangerous, and in our foundation we would like to delay the time when we start to have the first contact with internet to 3 years old, World Health Organization to talk about 2 years old, but we think that this should be really later, when we see in restaurant people with 1 year old or even smaller children who watch the video phone with cartoons. It is really very, very dangerous what we think. And also the time which we spend in internet should be limited. We recommend in our foundation we recommend that the time for children spent on social media should not exceed an hour a day, because we would like to be active in real life and not to be still online. And it is important that we should prepare the next social campaign also to show the parents and young people how to live also offline, and that the offline life is possible, because I think that we can smile now, but when we think that we can live 2 days offline, this could be really hard to imagine for a lot of people, also for adult people and parents. And we see as a psychologist the big problem with burnout of parents, because they still work, they are still available, they got hundreds emails and messages and information on social media, through internet, through media, in television, and we are still exhausted after work, and we should relax, and we can't relax when we watch the telephone or tablet with the blue light, and when we still engage in our body dopamine. So what we recommend to think about it in every example of our life, and to change it to be sometimes also offline and active, because our body gives us good possibilities with endorphins, which are so-called happy hormones. And especially when we talk about depression, it is really, really important to use our body biological possibilities. Thank you very much.
May I? Yes. So if I had to say about what we could do, I would speak about education, of course, but and developing digital competence. And I think it's not about using a mobile phone or a tablet or a computer. It's about critical thinking. It's about searching for information. It's about analytical skills that help us navigate through this much more complicated world. Yes, and it's not only about educating children. It's about educating adults, parents, teachers. In our research shows that teachers, they really need some support in implementing technology in education. So they are willing to teach children how to use, but they need to learn themselves at the beginning. And the balance between, we cannot develop digital skills, digital competence when we are afraid of digital technologies, yes, and media. So it's very difficult probably to balance this offline, online, and etc. We have to learn and educate how to use it wisely and in a functional way. But I would also say that this co-creation and dialogue with users, with children, with youth, with teachers, with adults, it gives this feeling of agency that we really can do something, we can change, we can design, we can have influence on how other children will learn, on how other teachers will teach. If our research shows that when we treat youth as partners, but like serious partners, not just receivers of our knowledge, but co-creators of the educational process, they really become more empowered, they become more agentic, and they they feel more responsible for their education and for others' education. So I think this education in dialogue would be the solution, I think.
Yes, it was mentioned before. Technology is only a tool. It comes with many advantages, such as accessibility. It's a wonderful tool to bridge gaps in mental health support. However, of course, it has many disadvantages, and it was mentioned before: the overexposure to screens, the addiction issue, and its consequences on the sleep patterns, on the negative aspects on the mental health, on the physical health itself, and on the attention span. So it's a very discussed topic now. So it's known, and I think that, as you said, the psychoeducation and the education is very important. We need to have a clear guidelines of a digital hygiene, how to use the tools, and to educate people. Yeah.
I think it's very important that we have to acknowledge, and looking towards the future, is these things are very difficult to do well. They're incredibly easy to do badly. And looking at this space and making sure we have ethical standards, making sure we have regulation, making sure we're using the data in the right ways, and we understand what we're getting from that information as well, not mistaking huge numbers for population size, making sure we use things in a way that will benefit the young people that we're working with, not only working with them to create things, but creating products that create data that we can then use to help those people and to support and provide evidence for the space that we want to get to in the future.
I also believe what was told before, and by combining safe platform design, strong legal framework, awareness raising, by putting education, by bringing all the stakeholders together, which is very important. And here I would also like to mention the role of industry, to bring in private industry together to discuss and to listen to their perspective and to find, as the colleague mentioned, ethical communication and way forward. The co-design that was mentioned is indispensable for making these apps effective. I believe that the responsible, of course, of also having responsible tools, we can create a digital world that supports the mental health of children and young people.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, it seems that we are not going to have time to have a dialogue with you, with the people who are listening to us, because it's only 1 minute left for our meeting. Seems that we found that we talk about the solutions and about the recommendation and about the ways that we can change the internet, that we can change the world to have the world more balanced. So it means that it can be more implemented into our life, not that the internet is a place that we can be harmed or that we can be damaged. I think that seems that a lot of things that we talk about are the solutions that should be implemented. But what the question I stay after our meeting is how to do that. Seems that we agree what should be done, but the question is what would be the next step, how to create this new world, who should start and who should make the decisions for the nations and for the Europe. This is a question, I think. Thank you very much for the panel. Thank you.